In this video, we'll talk about MyPlate and how to introduce different food groups to your participants and different ways in which you can talk about the different food groups as well as everyday and sometimes foods. When introducing MyPlate, it is always helpful to have a visual of what MyPlate actually looks like, and starting by asking your participants open-ended questions about where they have seen this before, if they know what it is, or what it means to them. By asking these questions, you can assess your participants' knowledge base and can begin discussion with them. Other questions you can ask about MyPlate to your participants is how MyPlate looks different from their plate when they sit down to eat, if there are any things that surprise them. One of the main topics is to emphasize that MyPlate has half of the plate being covered by fruits and vegetables. This is a good segue to start your conversation on the different food groups. You can start by asking your participants, what are the 5 food groups? One activity that you can do is actually have them list out different food items and categorizing them into the correct group. Another way that you can help participants identify foods into the food groups is by using different visuals and having them pick them up and placing them in the different categories. Sometimes confusion does arise when talking about food groups. For example, eggs can be confused as a dairy item because of where they are located in the store, but I like to remind participants that they do come from animals, so they would be considered a protein. Just in the same way, beans can be confusing for participants in that they might confuse them as a grain when they also can be put into the protein group. Another item for confusion would be tomatoes or avocados, where they can go either in the fruits or the vegetables for the participants, depending on their experience with them. When having this conversation, try not to go too far into detail. Just let participants know that it's more important to eat more fruits and vegetables than trying to get caught up in which category they go in. When talking about MyPlate, it's also important to talk about everyday versus sometimes food within all of the different food groups. We want to emphasize to eat a variety from all the food groups and a variety within each food group. Another example would be baked potato versus French fry. It is not so much about the actual food item, just remind participants that it is about the method that it is prepared. When discussing MyPlate, what we want to emphasize is that it serves as a guide for variety within all the food groups, for participants to actually include all the different food groups into their diet, as well as to practice moderation when eating all of these foods by using everyday and sometimes foods. Thank you for watching this video. By teaching participants about MyPlate, you are reinforcing to participants how to eat a more balanced diet. For more information, please refer to your instructor guide, facilitator flipbook, or toolkit, and please remember to always use hands-on activities and facilitated dialogue when teaching any Cooking Matters lesson.